I have a fun game to do for the activity E when it comes up and says to gather the irregular words that you had been working on. Uh, it's a memory game, fairly simple to use. I'll show you 3 different variations on this. 2 of them require an overhead cam, the third one doesn't. So the first variation is for kids who are getting those words, like if they're if the at the beginning of the lesson in A, B, C, or D, it tells you to introduce particular words. I use those words in this game. So imagine today, because these happen to be right here on the top. I'll use these. Our words today, earlier in the lesson, we used were to and want. All right. So what I would do is I would lay down cards and I would go through and cover them up. All right. And I will make sure that the words of the day, to and want, pop up regularly. So now I can ask them, where was the word want? And it could be like, oh, it was right there. All right. So they can tell you it was on number 2. Or if for some reason their mic isn't working, I can say what was in box. I'm sorry, I could ask where was the word want, and they can give you the numbers on so it'll work without their mics too, if you're having problems. So it enables me to connect these words of the day to the end of the day, and each round I will keep dropping one of these words in there so they keep seeing it over and over again as we play. I'll use it as my target word from time, more often than not. Where was this word? Where was this word? So the other variation on this is for kids who aren't getting those words of the day. Usually the slightly younger kids, the kids who are just starting to read. You can slowly go through and drop legs that are fairly or legs. I said the word, didn't I? Words. You can go through and drop words that are easy, and make sure that you give plenty of time. Don't just drop those things right down there because they're sounding them out. Remember that. And then you can go do the same thing. All right. Where was the word I? And have them tell you where that was at, or which box was the word I in. You could go that way too. The third variation on this is meant for if you don't have, let's say I didn't have an overhead cam. So I could have very easily just been like, all right, and then just ask, what was the second word? And then see if they were and have them remember, you know. So you could have done it that way too. I like the overhead cam. Well, I got it, so I use it. But I like to use the overhead cam for this because the visual aspect of it helps them to remember, and I like to see them succeed more often than not. So this is a very simple game. It's adaptable to the difficulty level is adaptable to your groups, and you can use the words at the beginning at the lesson, at the end of the lesson to connect all that stuff, which is I think is very handy. You could put a point system to it if you wanted to. If they got it right, you add a point. Maybe they put the word in the chat or the numbers, the cell in chat, whatever you want to do there, however you want to do that. I usually don't do points on this. They work together as a team. I'll ask specific kids. I'll call them out. Kid 2, do you remember what was in box 2? And then if they don't remember, you just, kid 3, can you help? You do things like that. So that was a simple memory game using the words from the lessons when it tells you to, at activity E, it tells you to gather words that you've been using.